Now.
Sounds good.
Hold on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabrielle, and welcome again to another episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. Last week we went live for the first time in many months because I had taken some time off, and I came back. My gosh, the reception was amazing. You all really made it feel like I was a superstar because you were able to help me share, like, and you made comments. And yeah, a lot of people call me and say, "Wow, they really love the show." I know my girls from Positivity Feminine. They're all called to say that was a beautiful show. And I was very happy too because it was a show about home ownership. And we know how important that is. And we had an amazing guest on the show because we had Marty Lopez, who is an amazing real estate agent. She came in and gave some really pertinent, timely information about what it takes when you are ready to buy a home, how she could and other real estate agent can help you find that perfect home. But when it's time to buy that home, many of us are thinking, am I gonna be able to afford that house? And most people cannot write a check. I wish I could have done that. I would have saved a lot of headaches, right? You need to go and get some money,
Yeah.
loan some money from a bank or a financial institution or a lender. So that's why tonight we have an amazing loan originator from the money store with us tonight. He's gonna
Mhm.
introduce himself and he's gonna let us know what it really takes to get that loan so that you can get to that closing table. Now, remember, I always say, myself, Gabrielle, when I was a mortgage broker, I always said it's important to find. That's why we talked about finding that house with a realtor. Finance. Tonight, we're going to talk about the financing. And most importantly for me, it was to be able to keep the property that you had found and financed. So, therefore, tonight, we're gonna have some really great information about the best practices and how to work with amazing people that can help you finance your home and subsequently keep your home. So without further ado, oh, before I do that, please again, my friends, I need you guys to share, like, I need you to yeah, let us know how you feel about the show. And I also would like for you to follow the page, the Let's Talk Money with Friends page. So without further ado, let me welcome my guests for tonight, my friends for tonight, Giovanni Schettini.
Yep, yep.
Giovanni, are you Italian?
Yeah, well, so I'm Haitian, but my grandfather was Italian. So it's
Oh,
so there's Italian in the blood for sure. Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah. We met actually for the first time. It was like was it a couple weeks ago, last week? We met at a great event. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
That was actually we met at two different events, right? We went to two different events last week, which was really good. So I had we had a first time home buyer seminar that we did in Everett at
Mm-hmm.
La Pearl, which Valerie is the owner over there, and she graced us with her space to be able to talk to other people that were interested in purchasing their first home. We called it financial literacy, but it was mostly focused on purchasing a house. You know what's kind of crazy about this is the
Yeah.
fact that your show is called Let's Talk Money with Friends, and the name of the company that I work with is the Money
Money store.
Store. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect, right?
I know. It's all about money. On the show we say money encompasses everything. And I think
Yeah,
we're on all the platforms. I'm trying to look, you gotta multitask, okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Especially if you're Gabrielle, you gotta learn how to multitask.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
But
I'm
that
trying to make sure that we are on all the different platforms. And if you are on social media too, please share with your friends. Yeah, the money. So we say on the show, money encompasses everything because we know it's so important to understand how money works and how money can work for you. And we've made mistakes. Who hasn't made mistake about money, right? But at the end of the day, this forum here, let's talk money with friends. We want to have those conversations because
right.
I know earlier today when we were talking, you said, Gabrielle, what is the objective? It's to have a conversation and get folks to understand that there are resources available. You have a community that you can count on to
Yeah.
help you get to whatever you want to do. And most people, most Americans, and those who are overseas who are watching, everybody would like to have a home that they can call their own. And
Sure.
definitely, we want to be able to help you, educate you on that. So yes, we are on the World Wide Web, but we do a lot of stuff locally too. So yeah, go ahead. You said like we met at an event last week, and your organization had that had put it together.
Yeah, we did. We did. So again, it was about educating people on the process of buying their first home, or if they want to buy a second home, a third home, right? The
Okay,
idea is, why use your money to buy a home when you could use other people's money to buy a home, right? That's
correct.
the whole idea behind it. If you look at any investors, that's what they do, right? They use other people's money to invest, and it's the same concept when you're purchasing your home. Just like you said,
Hmm.
not all of us have, 500K or 200K or anything like that to write down a check to buy a house. So this is why you
Okay.
need people to front you the money so you could go ahead and purchase a house, and this is
Yeah.
where I come in. I
I know
help
this is
people.
where you come in. So I know, for someone like me, I remember I was very active at my church,
Mhm.
and I was teaching Sunday school and being part of the women ministry, the single ministry, all the ministries, because
Yeah,
I grew up in church. That's my life. And I remember one time I was like driving by the neighborhood all the time. I'm like, Lord, why can't I find a place around here where
yeah,
I could be closer to
yeah,
church so I could do more. And
yeah.
that's the reason why I chose my community. But I know folks, what is typically the reason why, like when people are ready to buy a home,
The reason for it?
not the reason, but like what is usually the state of mind? Because I know for me it was like I want to be close to my church family.
To your
What
community,
is
right?
the state of mind?
Yeah, so um within my career, what I've noticed, right?
Uh-huh.
Whenever somebody comes to me and they're like, "Oh, I want to buy a house," there's two reasons.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, there's the whole badge of honor that you wear because like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
I'm a homeowner now," when you can walk around and tell people that I own a house, it's a kind of a big deal, right? Uh,
Exactly.
but the other thing is the underlying part of that is the fact that people were not liking rents going up, right? So rent will go up $100 or $200, and
Mhm.
a lot of my clients have always told me that they don't like the fact that the payments are constantly going up. So it just
Okay.
made sense for them to go ahead and purchase a house because they don't have to worry about that. And again, it's their own space. They're the boss of the location. It's theirs. Nobody can take it from them. So
Yeah.
that's that's one of the main reasons. I want to say those are the two main reasons why people usually come to me asking to help to purchase a house is the badge of
Yeah.
honor saying that you're a homeowner,
Yeah.
right? You
And
walk
for many, yeah, and for many, this is their very first time. Like, I know there are programs in the area here where they help families who've never owned a home before. There are some families who've never owned it before, and especially immigrant families. When you come from another country, you've worked for 5, 6, 7 years, sometimes more, and you're like, you know what, I wanna I wanna own a little piece of this land. I wanna make it permanent for me, especially if you're not planning on going back or moving to another state. That
Yep,
excitement is always great to have that excitement, but many times again, you're excited because you
yep,
want to buy a home. You're excited because you want to stop paying rent,
yep,
but you don't have all the money that you need. And
yeah,
many times, if you don't know what it takes, you're thinking, I need all the money. I need $500,000 to buy a home. That's where you come in, right?
yeah.
That's
And
where you
it's
come in.
it's
You don't need $500,000 to buy a home.
no, like the thing is, and people think it's very, very tough to do, but it's really not. Like the way that it's set up, they want to give you money so you could go out and purchase a house.
Yeah,
A lot of people think like, oh, there's this conspiracy out there that they don't want us to buy. No, we want you to
yeah,
buy a house.
yeah,
So we'll work with you and figure out a way to get it done. Yeah, there are rules around it,
yeah,
right? There are certain things that have to happen, but we want you to purchase a house. So I think people get worried about the process, but it's really not. There's literally three things that we have to check, right? And
yeah,
I tell all my clients that. I tell them
yeah.
there's literally only three things on paper that I have to do for
Yeah.
you. You know?
And what I noticed too from doing, I was doing some research online, and they're saying like in 2023, that was just 3 years ago,
Hmm.
the residential mortgage market was over 12.8 billion trillion dollars.
Yeah, people are buying
So
houses.
meaning like people are buying, and
Yeah,
everybody seems to be buying
yeah,
with, with other people's money, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
the market is very is that big.
yeah,
Trillions,
yeah,
you
yeah,
talk about million, billion, and children
yeah,
trillions. So it's very important that you know that you can have a little piece of that pie too. So if
yeah,
you're watching, last week we talked about home ownership and how important it is to work with the right mortgage loan office, not the loan officer, the real estate agent to help you find that perfect home. But once you found that perfect home, now you need to pay for it.
mm,
That's where Giovanni comes into play, and his organization, the money store,
mm,
and other lenders. It's so important to know that you're not alone. This is not something that is so strange.
mm,
Everybody's doing it. Everybody needs to borrow money. You
yeah,
need to use other people's money in order for
yeah,
you to
yeah,
create that generational wealth that we talk about. So in order for you to do that, you need to work with an organization like the money store, correct?
correct,
Okay.
correct. The
So
only thing,
you mentioned, oh, go ahead.
the only thing that I would say though, working with a real estate agent is super important, and having a great real estate agent is super important. Having a great team around you is super important, right?
Correct.
Um, attorney, all that stuff plays into it as well. Um, However, the only thing that I would say is before you start shopping for houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to take a look around, right? Look around, see what you like, but before,
Uh-huh.
figure out how much you can afford first.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's one of the things that we talked about
Offline.
offline,
Uh-huh.
which is you asked me the reason behind the license, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons behind the license is because my license is tied to every single loan, every single person that I helped purchase a property.
Going forward. Yeah.
And what that license also means is that I can't give you a loan that you can't afford.
Hmm. That's a
Okay.
great thing.
Yeah, so I can never put you in a situation where not only can you not pay out, I can never do that. Like it's literally illegal. I can't give you a loan that you can't pay for. Not
Yeah.
only the mortgage itself, but also your other debt that you carry. So I have to take a look at everything for you.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
the qualifying process, that's why we were also talking offline. We're saying like, so many times, let's say, I have a cousin and my cousin is a nurse and making, 6-figure income. And
Yeah.
then now she just purchased a house for $500,000
Right.
down the street. And I'm like, oh, I should be able to do the same thing. Aren't
Yeah.
we cousin?
Yeah.
If we cousin, we ought to be able to get the same thing. And you're like, no, 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 Gabrielle, because the qualifying process is individual, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
My
mean, I
own
would love for you to
DNA,
have,
my own
yeah.
DNA, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. So it's different for every single person, right?
Yeah.
So every case is different. It's we would love for you to do that, and if you want to do that, we can definitely coach you and tell you what you need to do to be able to get there. But to
Uh-huh.
just say like, oh, because my cousin got it, I should be able to do it. There's a little bit more steps that needs to go into it. We don't know if we can put you into that house yet,
Yeah,
but anything is possible. This
yeah.
is, you know.
So yeah, you had mentioned earlier that there are three things. So what does it really take? Let's say I'm ready. I'm thinking about the neighborhood, the community. I know what I want. I want to stop paying rent,
Mhm.
and I'm ready. What does it really take to get a
So,
mortgage?
all right. So this is what I usually tell my clients,
Uh-huh.
right? Um, they the way that I explain it to them, like imagine somebody comes off the street, okay,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, Gabrielle, let me borrow $500 from you." You don't know them, and they're like, "Let me
Correct.
borrow $500 from you," and you're gonna be like, "I don't know you, buddy. Why would I? Why would I give you? How do I know you're gonna give me back this money?" Right?
Correct.
So the first thing that we look into is whether or not if you have a willingness, what they call a willingness to repay your debt, right?
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. We need to show on paper that you want to repay the debt. And then the way we do that is credit report, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You already took out other loans or whatnot. We take a look at the credit report. We're like, hey, Mr. Investor, Mr. Bank, Mr. Underwriter, whoever is gonna, I'm not the one that signs off on the loan. So there are people in the background that signs off
Yeah.
on the loan,
Hmm.
right? So the first step is here's Gabrielle's information. She's good. She's gonna pay you back. You see this? Look at her credit report. She's
Yep.
gonna pay you back. So that's
Hmm.
the first thing. The second thing, which we kind of touched on, is whether or not if you have the ability to repay. Remember
Hmm.
how I was like, you know, I can't give you a loan that you can't pay back. Like it's
Right.
right. It's the same thing. Somebody comes up to you, you're gonna be like, "You have a job?
Yeah.
Can you actually pay me back this money that you're talking about?" So it's the
Yeah.
same concept, right? The bank is gonna want to see that you have some sort of income coming in, or what your income looks like, and if you're gonna be able to repay it, right? So
Right.
that's the second thing.
Yeah.
Now the third thing is, right, they want to see that you have enough money to be able to close the deal. Funds to close, it's called.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And that's to cover like attorney fees, because the attorney has to be part of it. An appraisal has to be done on the house.
Hmm.
There are other fees that comes with it. So I have to be able to show on paper, listen, she's good with credit. She does what she does. She does her stuff with her credit. She pays back people. She has a job. She can pay
Hmm.
back this loan in her car and her credit card and all that stuff. She's not, what happened back in 2008 is not going to happen again. She's good to go.
Hmm.
Boom. She also has money to be able to get this going. She'll also
Yeah.
come up with her own money. As long as you have those three things, you're golden. There's nothing, it's not that like people think it's very, very tough, something that's very hard or tough to
Yeah.
do, but it's not. It's really
But
not.
I mean, I understand you said, Giovanni, that once you qualify, the qualifying process of are you able to pay, have you done this before, meaning your credit history, and
Yeah.
also if you have reserve or cash flow to
Mhm.
carry on a debt. But I would like to address this because you mentioned it a couple of times. Not everybody who applies for a loan gets approved. Is it just based on those three criteria that you just mentioned, or are there other underlying issues? Because I know on this show we say money encompasses everything, and
Yeah.
the reality is for years, maybe perhaps even today, we did have such a thing as redlining.
Yeah.
Right. In this country, I don't know about other countries,
Yeah.
for those who
Yeah.
are watching. In this country, that some people were systemically being pushing away from,
Yep.
or not being given credit when they were fairly credit worthy. So, what do you say when some folks? I know people still have apprehension, and that's part of the nervousness. Am I gonna be qualified based on the
Yeah.
criteria that they actually already have in place, or are there other some underlying issues that might be taken into consideration?
So again, so part of after the crash happened, right? There's a lot of this is how I can explain it. There are a lot of rules and regulations in place now to make sure that specific thing does not happen.
Okay.
Okay, which is why like we're heavily monitored for that. Any institution
Great.
is heavily monitored for that. When you're filling out the application for a loan, there's
Mm-hmm.
literally a whole section specifically on that. It's
Uh-huh.
called it's called it's like a monitoring system for us. People think like it's on there because they're gonna they're gonna use it to not give me a loan. No, it's to make sure that we're giving loans out to everybody.
Who
There's so
qualifies?
exactly every year as a loan officer, you have to go through certain training
Great.
that tells you that this is not okay. You're not allowed to do that. So the whole redlining and all that stuff, that's completely out the window.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't get approved, it's because they didn't have a good loan officer.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. That's that's the only answer I could think of, because in my 8 years of doing this, I've
Mm-hmm.
only had one loan not approved, and that's because it was my mistake.
Mm.
I didn't know the loan program well enough to be able to guide that person through the loan program. But I also learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right after that happened, I was like, this is never going to happen to any one of my clients ever again.
Correct. So in other words, you're saying like you're doing some pre-qualification. You're pre-qualifying them first, even before presenting their file to the underwriter who's going
Exactly.
to process the loan. Yeah. Very
Exactly.
important. Again, going back to my, back then when I was a loan broker, loan officer, we did not have license. We were
Yeah.
not required to have license, but I can say proudly, Gabrielle had common sense. I
Yeah.
didn't have license, but I had common sense. Not only common sense, I had godly sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Godly sense to make sure that the people that I was taking care of, that I took care of them. Because I
Yeah.
always thought, we talked about that off camera, Giovanni. We talked about having a long-term perspective,
Right.
knowing that this family is buying a home.
Mhm.
Many of them, this is their very first home. They've never had it before. The
Mhm.
pride, the joy.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right, to have this person having to deal with the loss of something that they've invested so much in,
Yeah.
that to me is deserves some really great punishment. But
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
of yeah, it's a huge, it's definitely a huge thing, and you have to be very serious about it as the professional helping other people, because it's people's lives that's on the line, right?
yeah,
Like, you have to take care of people, and like you said, it's a godly act that you're doing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I agree with you.
It's generational because once we, I mean, I know for me, like I said, church is very important to me.
Mhm.
Many of the clients that I had, they were from my church, and I
Yeah,
can still go to church
yeah,
because they
yeah, yeah,
all still kept their homes. My
yeah,
mother's friends who had done the loans with me to buy their first house, they
yeah,
still, every time they see me at an event or I go see to my mother's church, they always say, Gabrielle, we still have a home because of you.
yeah,
Because again, I did not have a license, but I remember saying to myself, how do I do it in the most honorable way? And it was to make sure that they're fine, they're
mm,
financed and able to keep their homes. And
right.
you mentioned that we were saying like not only the license, but the education matters too. We
Hmm.
talk about that on the show because I had gone to school and studied finance
Hmm.
and finance at the time and then later on taxation, but I knew how to count. I knew how to do financial calculations. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? If
yeah,
you're able to calculate numbers and calculate payments,
yeah.
how could you put somebody into a situation where they're not gonna be talk a little because you said you study
Story.
what did you went to school for
Economics.
economics,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
as a loan officer, you understand the big picture.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do understand the big picture. And that's one of the things that I always make sure to talk to my clients about as well, right? Like, what is your long-term goal?
Hmm.
You know, I think one of your questions you had asked in the sheet that you sent me.
The agenda.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think one of them was
Yeah.
something about how long somebody holds on to a loan for. And I think the
Yeah.
statistics are like 7 years,
7 years.
yeah, because families grow and
Yeah.
families get smaller, right?
Mhm.
So the house you might buy today might fit your family now, but later down the line in 7 years, you might need a bigger home, right?
Correct.
Not saying that this is what happens for everybody, but on average, that's the way it
Mhm.
works. So that person either holds on to the property, like you said, I agree with you 100%. If you can hold on to the property, hold on to it, turn it into a rental property, get some money coming in, have that rental income pay for the mortgage, which then you can pass down to your kids and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff, you know? Um, but yeah, that's what happens. Families get bigger, then they need to get a bigger house. And then when the kids move out, they need to go back to a smaller
Smaller
house.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the way it works, you know?
Yeah. So going back again to qualifying and also what you just mentioned, like most people, most families, most homeowners will hold on to a property for 7 years. I know there are, multiple different loan options, mortgage options.
Mm-hmm.
When do you offer conventional, non-conventional, fixed, adjusted, interest only? When do you offer those type of loans, FHA, Fannie Mae? When do you offer those type of loans to a client, a
It
homeowner, a family that's looking to purchase a home?
It's case by case basis, right?
Okay.
It's case by case basis. I have to take a look at their whole financial, like you said, DNA, right? Their
Uh-huh.
whole
Yeah.
financial DNA. I have to take a look at it and see which one of those loan programs, A, that they can qualify for, that they can get,
Uh-huh.
and B, which one is in line with their goals as a family or their goals in terms of buying real estate and all that. I have to take a look at everything. So it's not like a one case,
One
you know,
size fits all.
one size fits all. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Case.
but let's do a case study. For example, you have someone who's a single person who's saying, like, I want to build community. I want to come to this community and be here long term.
Mhm.
Would you offer, like, is it like, would that person be, would you even consider an adjustable rate mortgage for that person or interest only? Or would that person, if someone is saying, like, I want to be here long term, my church is down the street, this is where I want to be. Are you talking about short-term interest only mortgages, adjustable, or a permanent conventional loan?
Yeah, so I mean, if you plan on sticking around in that house and that's what you're thinking of doing, I would never tell you to go into a loan program where, it's going to change on you. Why? You're
Yeah,
not going, nothing's going to change about
yeah.
where you live. So no, I wouldn't do that. So that's why it says it's case by case basis, right?
Case by case basis, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is definitely case by case basis.
Yeah,
And
because my brother was in the Marine
yeah,
and he was stationed in North Carolina, I believe.
he
And
moves around.
he called me and said, Gabrielle, I have the opportunity, not even as a veteran, to buy a home with no down deposit and everything, or I can rent a house. They give them money, I guess, well, they earn the money to
Yeah.
either pay for rent or own a home. And he had asked me, and I was like, oh. You definitely want to invest into a home if you can. If you're going to be here for more than 2 years, again, as a tax person, I know the
Mm,
benefits of owning a home for more than 2 years.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
capital appreciation, that is tax free, up
Right.
to 250,000 for a single person. So
Yeah.
I said, why don't you do that? And that for me, that type of a loan, you could go into an adjustable 2-year fix, knowing that you're not gonna be here for more than, that property for more than 2 years, and then you're gonna sell it anyway, right?
Mm-mm.
Even that you have to think about it. But if you're talking about long term, I don't see how a long term client should get into an adjusted. I never did that. Is that some of the best practices that you have at your office?
I don't even think I've ever done one of those loans.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. I mean, I know other people that have done it, but I, on the other hand, I've
Yeah.
never because the clientele that I service, they
Mm-hmm.
stick, you know,
Same.
they stick around. Like they stay in that house for
Yeah.
longer than what that type of loan program
Yeah.
they the benefit of that loan program does not suit their specific needs and their specific wants. You see what I mean? So yeah, like it's not, and that's how a lot of people get in trouble with those, right?
Yeah.
Because you get an
Well,
interest.
yeah, that's basically what happened in during the 2008 crisis that we had. So many people ended up losing their homes because they found that perfect house and they
Yeah,
were very excited. They
mhm,
were completely attached to that home, but the financing wasn't correct. The
right.
financing wasn't done by someone who was obviously not licensed
Yeah.
because you are licensed. And you mentioned something about like your license is attached to every single transaction
Mhm,
that you do now. And
mhm.
I think it's a game changer, would you say?
Yeah, yeah, of course. It holds you liable. So if I gave out a loan, let's just say, right? If I gave out a loan to somebody, which would never happen because, what I'm doing.
Other than that, right?
Yeah. If I give out a loan and for whatever reason that house gets foreclosed on, the
Hmm.
first person they're gonna look at is me. And be like,
Oh,
why did you give
yeah.
this person this loan?
Yeah,
You see what I mean? So it's a huge thing that happened, which I believe is it's great for the consumer.
correct.
Yeah. It holds every single loan officer accountable for their work. You
Yeah.
can't go out here just giving out loans without actually trying to help people. Like you can't
Yeah.
it's no longer the Wild Wild West. Like you can't do that.
Wild Wild West, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do
And
that
then, and
anymore.
then for clients for prospective buyers who are watching who might say, you know what, I'm thinking about a home, I'm buying a home, but I'm not sure. But not only do now loan officers are licensed, but also we even mentioned like the way you get compensated is different now. So the pressure to get someone into something without first thinking about that family or that individual is somewhat been discouraged by the way they're being compensated right now, correct?
Yeah, like So I guess back. So I'm not 100% sure, right? But back in
Yeah.
the day, I guess the way that loan officers were compensated is a little bit different now. Now I don't get paid by the consumer. You know,
Yeah.
apparently back in the day that's the way it was, but now it's not the consumer; it's the company that I work for. You know?
Yeah.
So it's way better for the consumer. There's no pressure on the consumer. Like it keeps
Yeah.
everybody accountable.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. So, we wanted to talk about financing because financing, again, is a big part of the purchasing process when
Mhm,
you're ready to buy a home. Now,
mhm.
there are so many different options. Now, we've had over the years since we've been doing the show, we've had folks who work at banks and mortgage loan officers, and we had lenders. But
Mhm.
your company, you guys are lenders, correct?
We're a mortgage company.
Hmm?
We're direct lenders to Fannie Mae, Freddie, and the big investors, the big people that purchase the loans in the back end. It's a little complicated, but yeah, 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 yeah. So
Okay.
we're direct lenders.
Okay, so what would be the reason why someone would forego going to their local bank versus coming to you? What's in it for them?
Well, all right. So we always, as a practice, right,
Uh-huh.
within the team that I'm on, and
Mm-hmm.
you've met my my area sales manager.
Correct.
We always tell our clients to go to your bank, your local bank, a credit union, and also a mortgage company, just
Okay.
so you can see the difference between all three of us.
Oh, okay, great.
We always, we always, we always encourage that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the best way that I can explain it
Mm-hmm.
to you, right, is with a mortgage company, we're just purely focused on mortgages.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
With other entities, they have other things going on. Versus us, we specialize specifically in mortgages.
Okay.
Um, so that's all we do. And
Yeah.
because of that, I personally think that that's the way that it should be. Like if I want to, I own a Jeep. Okay, I'll give you a good example. I
Yeah.
own a Jeep, right? I'm not gonna bring my Jeep to like a Honda dealership.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it to somebody that specializes in
Yeah.
Jeeps.
Correct.
So that's how I see it. However, we always encourage everybody to just go around and see what's going on.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
they have the liberty to go and shop around,
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
look first. So if you are ready to buy that home,
yeah,
if you're part of a local credit union, I believe in local credit union,
yeah,
local banks,
yeah, yeah.
you should have a conversation to maybe the branch manager or loan officer there first, right?
Mhm.
And
And
then
the
and
thing
then
too, right? They might have something special going on that
correct,
I don't know about,
correct.
right? So it could easily be that something's going on with their specific bank or their
Mhm.
specific credit union, and then I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, do that. Like I've had friends that they went to their bank because there was a very specific loan program that they were able to get themselves into, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that you should 100% do that.
yeah,
Don't it's all about you're going to be with that mortgage payment for however long, not me. So you go ahead. This is in your best interest.
yeah.
You should do.
But when I was talking to you earlier, I think I feel like, for example, that was a great analogy, right? But
Mhm.
the other one I would like to say is that if you're hungry, you could go to a restaurant and get a plate of food, right? You
Yeah.
get a plate of food and you failed.
Mhm.
You satisfy that hunger. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
might
yeah,
be the best food, right? Or
yeah,
you could go to a buffet.
yeah,
And the buffet would have a number of different things, and
yeah,
of course, all the different options. And I feel like mortgage brokers and lenders usually they're like the buffet. They have so many different options for you, and you are able to go through. And if one doesn't work, they could try something else. At least
yeah,
you have that option versus like when you go to a local bank, perhaps they only have one particular opportunity for you. But again, you get service, you get fed wherever you go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like
Yeah.
the other part of it as well is since we're this is getting deep. This is about to get a little bit deep.
Yeah, go ahead. I like
But
deep.
so since we're direct lenders,
Uh-huh.
right? Um, we have less of what they call overlays,
Overlay.
right?
Okay.
So because we're direct lenders to the people that purchase the mortgages or the loans in the back end, we have less filters, less rules and regulations, or how can I say it? Yeah, less guidelines that less hoops a person has to jump through
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be able to get that loan,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Versus other entities, it might be a different story. So that's one of the things that I've realized is
Mhm.
that, you know, unless there's like a specific program out there that a person qualifies for, you know, when you're looking at a mortgage, the less the we like to it's the path of least resistance, I should say.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, and one of the reasons why we work with, or my team decided that we're gonna be
Yeah.
with a mortgage company.
So I like narratives. Can you tell us a story about someone or a family that you worked with recently and how you were able to help them from start to finish and some of the feedback that you perhaps got from them? Some
Yeah, so
yeah.
I have a couple of them, right? I have a
Hmm.
couple of them. I want to say, well, there's two of them that really stand out. Okay, there's two.
Correct.
The first one was very early in my career.
Hmm.
There's this guy that wanted to buy. He's very smart guy, and very young too, by the way, very young.
Hmm.
And he wanted to build. He never had a. This was his first property, and he's like, "Listen, I want um, I've seen something online where 90% of millionaires do it through real estate. What is this thing about?"
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's, yeah. So I explained to him how to go about it. And
Hmm.
he ran with it. His first property was a four family, which is
Mm.
very hard to find, right?
Correct.
Very hard to find. Fast forward 2, 3 years down the line, now that property was paying for his mortgage and he was living basically for free in his own house.
Wow.
Not only was he able to do that, he was able to move out of that house, right? Get a single, and then that house paid for his new property and the one that he purchased.
Wow.
So this day, that's probably one of the best stories that I have in terms of real estate,
Yeah.
because that's the dream, right? That's the dream to be able
Correct.
to do it. And then the other one was this guy was, his loan was getting denied somewhere else. The loan officer didn't do their job right.
Mm.
The realtor called me. He's like, "Listen, I need you to look at this file, figure out what's going on, blah, blah, blah." Took a look at it, saw what the issue is, loan
Yeah.
approved. Which goes back to what I was saying, where you really need to have a loan officer that you trust that knows what he's doing,
Correct.
or else, because
Uh,
remember
uh,
how you asked me, you were
yeah.
like, why
Yeah.
do things get denied?
Hmm. Yeah.
Dude's not doing his job correctly.
Yeah, definitely. You need someone who's competent, who at least knows how to count and do
Yeah,
the numbers right, right?
yeah,
Calculate
yeah,
those loan to values and DTIs and do all those things correctly. But
yeah,
also, too, you need someone who's perhaps culturally competent
right.
because when you are dealing with someone who can look like you,
Mm,
and I think there is such a thing as similar to me effect. Actually, it's a business thing.
mm,
Those who are able to identify and see you as them
yeah,
many times not only are they not gonna put you in a situation that is not gonna be good for you, but also they're gonna try everything that they can to do
yeah.
what's best. So that's why tonight I wanted to have a conversation with you because I had spoken to Pierre. Pierre, I believe, is your district manager,
He's the
correct?
big guy. Yeah, yeah,
He's a
yeah,
big guy,
yeah.
and in his presentation, he talked about how important it is for him to build long-term relationship with his clients.
Yes, yes.
Not only
Very.
now with through the license, you are in a long-term relationship,
Hmm.
right? But at the same time, too, he may had mentioned at the event that we were at on Thursday that his clients now, their children, are calling him
Yeah,
for
yeah,
to help them out. So those long-term relationships so important. Now
yeah.
you're fairly young. Are you looking to have the same thing? To
Of
just have
course.
build
Well,
long-term relationship with your clients?
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, like I said, I've been in the business for 8 years now. I've definitely had clients that they referred me people, right? Either from their work,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they needed to take money out or something like that on the property. They've refinanced. So yeah, it's definitely a
Okay.
long-term relationship that you have. Um,
Yeah.
Plus, if you do a great job, they're gonna come back.
They're gonna come back, yeah. So
Yeah,
not only do you do the first time you looking to purchase a home, but many times we've had folks who said, you know what, now it's time for me to either get a new loan or I want to repair my property. I
yeah,
have some unfinished business, some sort of speak. We have work that needs to be done,
mhm.
and being able to buy a home that you can keep and be able to build that home and create the home, actually the house, and turn it into a home for your
Yeah,
family is very important. So you actually help those same clients or other clients to refinance as well, right?
yeah. If they need,
Yeah.
like, for instance, what they I think you were referring to, where there's two ways to do it, right? You could either
Yeah.
do like a renovation loan, which
Uh-huh.
is like you renovate the property, or you could just take money out of the property, like the equity in the property, um,
Okay.
and then use that money for, again, renovations, fix up the kitchen,
Yeah.
fix up the bathroom,
Yeah.
make the bedroom bigger or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do all that.
So I was thinking about the fact that sometimes, and we're gonna have, we've been on for 40 minutes. So, yeah, I was thinking like sometimes last week I had mentioned that, we all think that our first home is gonna be our forever home. But sometimes your first home, Maddie Lopez was on last week. She mentioned how she bought a home that needed to be fixing, like a fixer
Yeah,
upper. And then
yeah,
she was able to get that done. And later on, by fixing it and gradually doing the work that needed to be done, she was able to sell that property for over $300,000 more than she had purchased it for.
yeah.
Do you encourage clients, like, especially when it comes to qualifying, like they're like, oh, I want to buy the perfect house right now. Do you do the same? Do you usually encourage them to really think long term again?
So long term is always
Yeah.
the number one thing in my mind, right? It's always the long term. But it's case by case, right? So
Mhm.
if they're able to get exactly what they want right now based on their financial DNA, yeah, go ahead, pull the
Yeah.
trigger, do that, But if so it's really based on the number one issue that we see
Hmm.
here now is like location. But if
Hmm.
they want to live specifically somewhere, and for them to live specifically there, they have to buy a property that's not what they call turnkey.
Hmm.
Yeah, then get a renovation loan or something like that, or buy the house now, and then it's case by case.
Case by case and location, 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 right? I would love to be in the Caribbean right now. Maybe I'll get you, you'll get me alone to be
Yeah,
in the Caribbean because we are hot-blooded people, right? We vacation
yeah.
and I just love the idea of someday to be living in the Caribbean. But until then, we are here, right?
Well,
Whether you are in Massachusetts or in another state you are watching,
yeah.
we want to thank you for taking the time to watch and thank you for taking the time to share because we wanted to have a conversation. This is not specifically giving advice to you, but this is a conversation about what does it really take to buy that home, either
Yeah.
your first home or even your second home. But typically, most folks who have questions, a lot of questions, this is the first time buying a home.
Mhm.
So we wanted to have that conversation on the line here. But we do, again, we had mentioned that earlier that they are live in person. That's why I met you at. That's why I met Pierre. That's why I met so many other members of the community.
Yeah.
You all have in live. Actually, I think I might get invited, right? You
Of
all
course,
have
of
in
course. You're talking
live.
about the other event that we're gonna do later on.
Yes.
Yep,
Can
yep, yep.
you talk a little bit about that? Because if someone is in the Boston area, right, and
Mhm.
you live close by, either North Shore, South Shore, and you are within 30 minutes or 45 minutes, even an hour away, we
Yeah,
would like to invite you. Can you let them know a little bit about that? And how do they get, I see your email here.
yeah.
How do they get in touch with you to
So they
be
could
part of
either,
that?
yeah, they could either email me for sure. It's G, my last name Scattini, SCHETTINI at themoneystore.com for sure. The event, we're trying to lock down where we're gonna do it. So we did it in the North Shore, right?
Correct.
Pierre's plan is to do it in the South Shore now. So we're looking into Mattapan. I believe he also mentioned Dedham as
Okay, great.
Dedham being next to, like, I think it's next to Roxbury
Quincy,
Park.
Quincy,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Actually, not Quincy. Yeah, it's very close. It's close
yeah,
proximity. Yeah.
yeah, it's very close. I think like West Roxbury, Hyde Park, those kind of areas. That's where Dedham is.
Or even Dorchester. It's actually
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
location.
So he's looking to do one in the North Shore. We're
Hmm.
actually doing something. We're gonna be at the I guess the Haitian Chamber of Commerce is doing something next month. So we're
Yes.
gonna be there as well. So if anybody
Mhm.
wants to come talk to us or anything of that nature, we'll
Right.
be there as well,
So
right?
you have a table. You'll have a
We'll
table
have
there.
we'll have a
Okay.
table over there as
Yeah.
well. That's the plan. That's the plan
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
doing. And because we're doing that, our event might not be next month. It might be the following month. But again, if people want to know, they can reach out to us. And then you're
Ma-
obviously going to be invited. Come on.
Yeah, of course. May is a very busy month for us in
Yeah,
the community because it's our Flag Day,
right.
so many activities happening. So yes, definitely you wanna not just take information from here,
Yeah.
but you wanna come closer because the closer you are, the more resources you're gonna have available to you. I know when I attended on the Thursday,
Mm.
and then Valerie Joseph, the
Yeah.
owner of La Perle
Yeah.
restaurant, Caribbean restaurant in Everett.
Yeah.
We started having a conversation. We actually
Gorgeous place, by the way. Gorgeous.
gorgeous, yes. If you
Yeah.
haven't had some great Asian food,
Yeah.
definitely this is the place to go.
Yeah.
She started talking to me and she's like, Gabrielle, I have something coming up too because she's been opening her restaurant to
Mm.
invite the community in. You don't want to stay in your house or even be watching only online because
Right.
you can always do that anytime. You
Yeah.
want to come out and be part of the community and talk to people
Mm.
because on Saturday when I went back there, she had a gentleman from Texas who's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yes,
It's great.
yes. I
Yeah.
invited Samuel to be on the
Samuel,
show, and he
yeah.
was very excited about that because he flew all the way from Texas
I
to
didn't know that.
come
So yeah,
to,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
be watching, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited because we say on this show, money encompasses everything. We want to talk about everything related to money, life, how to make your life better. But also to we say this time around, because we've been doing this for a long time, we want to be able to take action because knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is greater power. We want you to come close.
Yeah.
That's why we're not only asking you to email Giovanni if you would like to participate in the live event that he's gonna be his office gonna be having, but
Mhm.
also I would like for you to email me if you'd like to participate in in a online. It's not gonna be live. We're gonna be doing an online event with other folks, like for example Maddie, who was on the show, the real estate agent. She wants to do a one-on-one Q&A with everybody who said, I was watching the show and I had a bunch of questions, but I didn't get a chance to answer those questions,
Uh,
to get answers to those questions. So we want you to reach out. Don't let it be like we throwing things at you and you're not catching it to do something about it.
right.
So yes, let's talk money with friends is all for about community. We want to talk about money and we say money encompasses everything. I am very happy that I had you tonight, Giovanni. You've been a great guest. If you have one last thing like you like to share, that would be great. If not, we are gonna go off the air and then yeah, go ahead.
Only thing that I would like to say is that if you really want to purchase a property or do any business in real estate, it is not as scary as people make it seem.
Yeah,
Feel free to reach out to us. We'll definitely help you. We'll show you exactly what you need to do. And then once you're done, you're gonna be like, wait, really? That's all it was? Yeah, that's
yeah,
all it is. It's easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta work with honest people. You gotta work with people who do have, with professionals, I should say, who
Mhm.
have a vested interest in seeing you
Mhm.
finance, and keep your home.
For
Because
sure.
we believe in generational wealth, and we believe that if you do it right, you're able to keep your home, then your children and your children's children will be very grateful for that. We
Yep.
have a community, we are a community wherever you are right now, we would like for you to level up. And
Yeah.
we know home ownership is a way to level up. As
Great.
a matter of fact, next week I will have a lady on the line here who's gonna be talking about some of the houses, low income homes that are available for homeowners who have very low income. Lottery. It's a lottery. It's actually opened already, but she couldn't I couldn't get her on tonight, but hopefully next week she'll be on. And the lottery is still gonna be open until May 8th. So if you would like to purchase a home in Lowell at a very low cost because your income is within the 80 or 100% medium income,
Mhm.
let me know. Email me. You have my number. I can give you the direct information to that. Or you could wait for next week when she gets on the line. But the sooner you do yours, the better it is for you. So,
We
yes, thank
also
you.
do those loans too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could actually help them
Yeah.
once they qualify for the lottery. You
Yeah.
could help them get the loan. Yeah, definitely. There's so many things. I'm excited because I know when people build community, when they own something in the community, they take care of it better and then they stay longer. I
Yeah.
want my neighbors to stay a long time. And
Yeah.
the way they can stay a long time is if they own the place. They'll have the liberty to leave when they want to, but not be forced out because of high rents and all that. So that's why we want to share the concept of homeownership, the idea of homeownership. It is as American as apple pie. Everybody would like to own a home. Okay, everybody would like to find, finance, and keep. Find, finance, and keep. That's my thing. You find, you finance, and you keep your home. So
Yeah.
tonight, call us, reach out to us, let us know. Please tag, share, make a comment. Let me know if you like my show. I want you to tell me and let Giovanni know that if you really liked his presentation tonight and if anything he said really got you to think about your next step.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm so
Thank you
grateful
for
for
having me, guys.
you. Have a blessed night.
You
And
too.
like I always say now, Benny Global, be Benny. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye. Let me go.